cracks in the facade, Netanyahu and Gallant's disagreement. The recent conflict between Israel and Hamas has exposed deep divisions within the Israeli government. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's call for total victory over Hamas was publicly challenged by his own defense minister, Yoav Gallant. Gallant reportedly dismissed Netanyahu's objective as nonsense, highlighting a stark difference in opinion regarding the war's objectives. Despite the internal rift, Gallant has reaffirmed his commitment to weakening Hamas and securing the release of hostages. The public display of discord within the Israeli government comes at a time when unity and clarity are paramount. Adding fuel to the fire, Israel faces the looming threat of retaliation from Iran and Hezbollah, both staunch allies of Hamas. The potential for these actors to enter the conflict is a significant concern. It remains to be seen how these internal divisions will impact Israel's response to the ongoing crisis. A chorus of condemnation, international response, and peace efforts. The international community has reacted to the escalating violence in the Middle East with a mixture of condemnation and urgency. World leaders have denounced the loss of innocent lives. Diplomatic efforts are in full swing, aiming to broker a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. The United States, a steadfast ally of Israel, has reiterated its support for Israel's right to defend itself while urging de-escalation. American intelligence agencies have issued warnings about potential imminent attacks, raising fears of a wider war. The United Nations has called for an immediate ceasefire, underscoring the dire humanitarian crisis unfolding in Gaza. International aid organizations are tirelessly working to deliver humanitarian aid to those caught in the crossfire. The international community faces the daunting task of navigating political sensitivities, while addressing the urgent needs of those suffering the conflict's devastating consequences. A wider conflagration? The risk of regional escalation. The current conflict between Israel and Hamas has ignited fears of a broader regional war, a nightmare scenario with potentially catastrophic consequences. Iran, a powerful backer of Hamas, has issued stern warnings about the repercussions of Israel's actions. Hezbollah, the Iran-backed group in Lebanon, poses a significant military threat to Israel. The involvement of these actors in the conflict is a grave concern for the international community. Warships and fighter jets have been deployed in a display of force intended to deter further escalation. Suffering in the crossfire, the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The ongoing conflict has inflicted immense suffering on the Gaza Strip, a densely populated area already grappling with a dire humanitarian situation. The Israeli military operation has resulted in widespread destruction of vital infrastructure, including homes, hospitals, and schools. The civilian population in Gaza is bearing the brunt of this conflict, facing acute shortages of food, water, and medical supplies. The UN estimates that over 1 million people have been displaced by the fighting. Aid agencies are struggling to provide assistance to those in desperate need. The ongoing violence and restrictions on access have severely hampered their efforts. The international community faces a moral imperative to alleviate the suffering of the people in Gaza and work towards a just and lasting solution to the conflict. A call for restraint, averting catastrophe and seeking peace. The current situation in the Middle East is a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the devastating human cost of conflict. The first and most urgent priority is to achieve an immediate ceasefire, requiring intense diplomatic pressure on all parties involved. The United Nations, with the support of regional actors, must lead this effort. Once a ceasefire is in place, the focus must shift to addressing the underlying causes of the conflict through dialogue, diplomacy, and confidence-building measures. The international community must also prioritize the provision of humanitarian aid to those affected by the conflict. The road to peace in the Middle East is long and arduous, but the alternative, a wider regional war with catastrophic consequences, is simply unacceptable. The fate of millions hangs in the balance.